Hey, dude, this dog like stinks, man. Okay, groomer, do something about it, man.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey, all you pet stylists! You found the GroomPod. Welcome to our virtual salon. My name is Susie, and I'm your host. I'm a mobile groomer from Seattle, Washington, and anyone who knows me will tell you I love to talk, especially about my job. One of my favorite people to talk to is my friend and mentor and co-star of the show, Miss Barbara Bird.
Hey Susie, I'm so happy to be here today to talk with you. I miss you so much.
I am so excited also to be here. This is amazing. Welcome to episode 418. I can't believe 418. I was thinking about that the other day. Of the GroomPod, recorded on July 7th, 2024 in Snohomish, Washington and Simpsonville, South Carolina. This podcast is brought to you by our kind sponsors, Best Shot, Show Season, Precision Sharp, Groommore, and Stasco. And if you guys want to support us, you can do so at the website, thegroompod.com, where you will find a one-time donation button that says Help Barbara Out on it, and a button that goes to our Patreon account, which is also a way to support the show. And this week on the GroomPod, we're going to talk about combs and rakes. And is pre-bath brushing and clipping really a bad thing? Barbara's going to let us know. What's new this week is brought to you by Groommore Software. If you haven't found Groommore, you're missing out. Groommore is an all-in-one software solution for your grooming business. Whether you are a solo mobile groomer or manage several shops, Groommore has everything you need. 24-hour online booking and forms, routing, credit card processing, reminders, Google Calendar and QuickBooks integration, and so much more. And the best customer service anywhere. Shop mobile or house call, Groommore has you covered. And they're giving us a free month. Just enter GroomPod22 in the coupon code. I had an interesting behavior thing this week. I thought I'd share it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I placed a dog in a house, but it was not a dog that I personally knew. It was a dog I saw on Facebook, and I thought, oh, this dog is going to be perfect for these people. And it's the people that had my very favorite Westie. And the Westie passed away. And then I got Mr. Gibbs and them hooked up, and they took the dog. It's a little Papillon or something Papillon mix. It's got the butterfly ears, and it's a little bit taller than a regular-sized Papillon, but a really nice guy. Seemed like a great dog. And the history is that I did the owner's parents' dogs, and then I did the kids' dogs, kid meaning he was like 68 or 70 when I met them. And I was on my third dog with them, and he passed away unexpectedly visiting his daughter in Arizona. Went down to Arizona, took the dog with him. They all three went, the two of them and the dog, and he just woke up dead one morning down there. And very unexpected. He was
Woke up dead,
yeah,
Susie?
he wasn't. Yes.
Good. If you can do it.
Yeah, it was really a bummer. And out of all my clients, his mom was one of my absolute favorites, and her dog was the best Shih Tzu I've ever known, almost. I've got a few others now that have pretty solid dogs, but her name was Me Too, and she was just an adorable Shih Tzu. Anyway, I digress. So Chuck was always a really good leader, and the dogs that they had were very obedient dogs. They were thoughtful dogs. They loved their lives, and they all lived a really long time. The Westie that we just lost was 17. When she came home with Mr. Gibbs, the little Papillon, I'm not an energy person, but her energy was erratic, and she was lost without her husband. I mean, just lost without him, and still is. And the dog didn't know his place anymore because Chuck gave him his place and told him what to do. And even after 4 months, Chuck was the leader. And now the leader's gone, and the dog became an entirely different dog. He was nervous. He was fearful. He kept making eye contact with mom and growling at me and growling at the daughter that was over. And it was just such an interesting change for the dog. And I was worried what he was going to be like for me out in the trailer. So she told me she's decided to rehome the dog, and I support it because the dog's not comfortable there. She's not comfortable with the dog because she doesn't know how to be the leader. I mean, in her whole life, she's never been a leader. And the dog just picked right up on it and started to get protective, but it's not an alpha dog. It's like a zeta dog. It's a dog that's way down in the pack. And all of a sudden, he felt the need to step up and be the one protecting mom. And it was just really interesting to see how that worked out in the house. I'm really sad that Gibbs has to go somewhere else. But I said, I wonder if he's going to let me pick him up because he was growling at everyone. And I walked over and I picked him up and he just got in my arms and cuddled in. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I took him out into the trailer and I started to groom him. And he was the old dog, the dog that I met for the past 3 months before Chuck passed away, because it was as if he was so tense and so nervous. And I put him in my table and I hooked him up and I adjusted his body, adjustable posable action figure. I put him in a spot and it was like he went, oh, thank goodness someone is finally telling me what to do. And he laid down and he went to sleep while I brushed him out. He was so relaxed in there. So rehoming him is the right thing. But it teaches you that in each dog is many personalities, and depending on what situation they get put into, they will be a different dog. And Gibbs needs a strong leader. He could even do with a house with a couple dogs if one of the dogs is a strong leader to teach him how to be confident and be a dog. But he definitely needs a strong human leader. So I'm going to help her write up an ad that says experienced dog owner only. And then I told her that she could let me talk to them so I can kind of feel out.
Great.
Yeah. Make sure it's a good fit, because that is one of my other careers is dog matchmaking. And I thought I really had a good match. And by golly, for 3 months, it was perfect. He was a perfect dog. He was interacting with people when they came in the door. He was very friendly and outgoing. And all of a sudden, boom, he was an introverted, bottom of the pack, reluctant alpha. I think that we can find him a better home. And it's torturing the lady because she's just broken up. She had the dog for 4 months, is bonded to him, but she is definitely not the right home for that dog. So that was my week. Everything else was pretty normal. Nothing broke. It's hot. It went from 47 degrees at night to 70 degrees at night. It's 90 today. Yuck.
Amazingly, I'm not suffering in the humidity and heat here like I thought I would. In fact, I'm all over Lynn because she's just wow, wow, wow. But do you get burned by your steering wheel? No. Can you fry an egg on your sidewalk? No. This is baby shit. I get cold in the house.
Yeah, that's nice.
I actually, but I sit outside a lot.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I have windows. In my house in Tucson, I only had one window. It was in my bedroom and it looked onto my back porch. Here I've got windows in all my 3 rooms, and I can just gaze at the clouds. At night, I can see the stars. And I've got a bird feeder on my window.
Oh, cool.
And the hummingbirds.
I love that.
And it's just a really nice little setup that I got here. It's sweet. It's a sweet little setup.
Thanks, Lynn and Danny.
The other thing that happened to me this week is I went to Costco.
Oh.
Now, people who go to Costco all the time don't think about it, but it is amazing.
It is.
First of all, there was a backup of a quarter of a mile of cars pulling into the Costco parking lot. We went the day after 4th of July. We were going to go on the day before 4th of July. I said, let's not go the day before 4th of July. Let's go after the 4th of July. Well, guess what? It was still backed up a quarter of a mile on the street to turn into Costco. I had to join And this was funny. We had this very outgoing person that waited on me to join. And once I mentioned that I was a dog groomer, she jumped on the subject of her dog. She started looking on her phone. We're trying to get enrolled here. She's looking on her phone for pictures of her dog. And then she says I was a Lhasa Apso, and I said, "Oh, my mother and I used to show Lhasa Apso." So then she started going into this stuff about how her dog died,
Oh,
and she was like tearing and everything. It's just, don't always want to tell people that you're a groomer. Yeah, I didn't think we were ever going to just get it over with. Or that she loved my name, Barbara Bird. She loved my name. She loved my hair. Then I had another old lady in Costco, older than I am probably, who wheeled by me. I mean, there's just all these shopping carts maneuvering around each other, and I was in the electric cart, so I'm taking up the bulk of the space in the aisle, right? This woman comes by me and she says, "Oh, those are really cute shoes. Where did you get them?" In Costco. Like and then I got about three other comments on love your hair and
welcome to the South.
welcome to the South and welcome to Costco. And it was just overwhelming and just like a city of stuff.
It's pretty fun.
A city of stuff. One thing, you'd be all way on one side, and then you say, "Where's the such and such?" And somebody would point you all the way into the back of the store. I guess we'll skip that today. So it was like an adventure. It was funny. Just going to freaking Costco. That's what my life has become. Oh, this was fun because I got to buy things, Susie. You know how I am.
Oh, yes.
Oh, we need this. Oh, look at this. What a good price. I need that.
Oh, yes. Costco is great. Until you buy a big, gigantic box of individual servings of Giardello's snack mix and then realize you don't like it as much as you thought you did, then it's not so great. Are you doing any grooming yet?
I did, I did a beautiful job.
You did your own dog?
Yeah, I use it as an opportunity to show Lynn how to set up and use her lip system because she just had this box full of link chains and straps. She had no clue what to do with them. And so I set up my little in a 3-point system, and she was just like, "Oh my God. If I'd had this, I wouldn't have gotten bit by that shepherd. Oh my God, that's amazing. Look at that." And meanwhile, I just groomed the dog up really cute. I'm doing him now with a very close body, like with a 7 or a 5, and then about the length of a yellow comb on their legs or a peach comb on their legs. My grooming stuff is coming together as I find it in the storage shed that's just totally disorganized.
Oh, but it'll be like Christmas when you go through it.
I know, but meanwhile, I'm buying replacements.
Yeah, don't do that.
I can't find my this and buy another one, and because it could be a week or it could be 3 months before I find whatever it is. I finally found my nail polish case.
Oh, good.
Certain things are important to me. A nail polish is my hobby, and I was already starting to buy nail polishes, and I brought a case of 40 nail polishes. That was culling. I mean, I only brought 40 of my nail polishes.
Oh, my goodness.
I already bought 3 new ones.
That sounds like things are progressing. That makes me happy. I know you're safe. I can see you have windows. It's actually much cheerier in your new South Carolina studio than it was in the Tucson studio. The Tucson studio is a little dark. This is definitely brighter.
Definitely, and I have the blinds fully open so that I can look out and see my little hood. And they've got big puffy clouds here, a lot of them, and it's really heavenly.
I bet. All right. Well, let's take a break, and then we're going to talk Combs and Rakes when we get back. Did you know that Stasco has come out with a couple of new products? First, there's the Stasco Oatmeal Protein Conditioner. This conditioner provides exceptional body and manageability and super shiny finishes. And it has a wonderful apple scent that I love. Great in the recirculator, too. And they have a new matching protein conditioning spray, dematting, anti-static conditioning, and finishing all in one, just like the original Stasco spray, but with that delicious apple fragrance. Look for these new products at trade shows and your favorite distributors like Cascade Grooming Supplies. This week I sent a picture to Barbara of a dog that has some really uneven coat regrowth after one bout of allergies. And also, on top of it, the owners are feeding their own diet. You know, they're making the dog food, and I begged them to stop. And then they took the dog to the vet because it was breaking out everywhere, and the vet begged them to stop. So we've got them on a commercial diet now, which seems counterintuitive. But I didn't know what to do with this dog's skin, and then I went, oh, wait. I'll use the oatmeal protein conditioner from Stasco, and the 7 hairs that were growing on that dog's back were so soft. It was really cool. It did all kinds of wonders for that dog's funny coat that's during this regrowth period. It's very bizarre. I cannot recommend the Stasco conditioning spray and the conditioner enough. Ready, groomers? Here comes our first appointment. So, what Barbara suggested on this dog, though, was a probiotic or a prebiotic.
Either and or both. Some kind of a supplement to help the gut because there is a definite gut to skin relationship that's been scientifically established. So if the gut isn't happy and doesn't have the right bioarray, the skin will not either.
I told them that, and we'll see. They're pretty compliant people.
Probably went swish.
It might have.
People only hear what they want to hear.
It's true.
If they don't want to hear it, and rather than asking you for a clarification or tell me more, they just forget it.
I'll remind him again next week. She did eat an edible gummy while I was there, so that might not help. You know, one of the magic ones.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's better than the whole square of edible chocolate that Marco ate and had a 4-hour trip.
This was the lady, so at least she knew she was eating it. It wasn't a surprise to her. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if I can help this dog a little bit along. But I see your points. You got to work from the inside out sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what I felt about the diet. You can't just feed your dog chicken. It's not enough.
No, it isn't. You're right.
Okay, let's move on to Combs and Rakes then. I have a favorite comb. It's my favorite of all time combs, and it's the Chris Christensen Greyhound style comb. And it has fine teeth on one end and wide teeth on the other end.
Medium teeth. It has medium teeth. They call it wide. The model that has the really wide teeth, 03 or something, that's wide tooth.
That's the one I use, the 003.
The 003.
Yeah.
Has really wide teeth.
Yeah, on one side.
Yeah.
And fine on the other.
Okay, so that's not exactly a Greyhound comb.
Okay.
Greyhound style combs have fine and medium.
Okay, well, that's what I was wondering why they're called Greyhound, and AI was not much help for me this morning about that, nor was Googling why they're called Greyhound. I thought maybe it was a brand name, perhaps, or something.
Yeah, I don't think they were used on greyhounds or anything like that. They probably never combed those dogs. I mean, what's the comb? What's the comb?
Good point. Good point. Well, that's my favorite comb. It's the one I use with every dog.
I think that's a standard all-purpose comb.
I like the extra wide teeth. It's helpful in finding some of the tangles in the heavily tangled coats that you're trying to brush through.
I agree. I agree. The extra wide is a much better detangling tool than uh, medium size.
What's your favorite comb?
I have one comb that I brought in a way that I could get to it immediately. I have two combs that I brought in my bag, in my tote bag. One was the half moon comb.
Oh,
And I like that for the same reason that you like the wide teeth, because the wide side of the half moon comb, it's really good picking apart tangles on very fine hair, such as my Maltese, right?
that makes sense. So, can the teeth be too close together? I mean, I use that face comb to pick out the boogies. We were talking about that last week. I wouldn't use it to comb through a coat. Having the teeth close together, doesn't it help stand the hair up a little bit better, though?
No, actually, to have the hair stand up, that's what those long poodle combs are, that are just a little bit wider. And that's what the competition groomers all use to fluff up, because it lifts more hair. It's more lifting than the finer type of comb. One of my pet peeves is that people that have the Greyhound style comb and only use the fine side. If you don't have a coat that's almost nearly perfect, that fine side can actually end up kind of ripping out hairs and causing a little mischief in that coat. So you don't necessarily want to just reach for that fine side. You want to use the wider side first and use fine combs for finer coat that you've already done some work on. And you want to get that last little bit of complete alignment of the hair.
So it seems like most of the combs have two different sizes of teeth. I know occasionally you run across, like you were saying, that wooden poodle comb that has one size of teeth through the whole comb. Have you ever seen the ones with three sizes of teeth?
Yeah, and I think that's a joke.
How do you use the middle?
How do you use the middle? Yes, even Marco laughs at that.
Yes. Those long poodle combs, they have a really nice short section at the very end that has some finer teeth on it, so you don't have to put that comb down and grab a different comb. I appreciate that. The cat combs have a different pattern of tines. They have two long ones and then two short ones, and two long ones and two short ones, and two long ones and two short ones all the way throughout the comb. I actually love that comb for cats and occasional dogs.
Yeah, I love that comb for de-shedding like a corgi. I can almost go over anybody's corgi that they think they finished with that comb and get a whole bunch more hair out.
It is a neat comb. I didn't know I couldn't live without it, but by golly, I can't live without it. So there is also a comb that is in the shape of a half a moon. I don't mean the half moon comb tines wise, but an actual curved comb, like curved scissors. What do you think that's for?
I think that's supposed to be for a larger dogs and it fits the contours of their body.
Okay.
But I used it. It didn't work for me very well. Dave loved it when I gave it to him. Dave loved it.
You know what I don't like? It doesn't lay in the drawer. It throws my sense of order completely out of whack because it doesn't lay in there. These are the things that bother me. The reason why I brought the comb thing up is because when I was on Facebook the other day, just perusing things, I saw a comb that had bent teeth at the bottom. Like the bottom third of the comb had teeth that were bent at an angle, so it looked like a spatula. And I thought that looked kind of neat. It'd certainly be better than dragging the end of the comb over the coat. You could drag the soft part of the comb or the flat side of the comb and then still have the upright side to go through the tangles. I thought it looked interesting, but of course, at this time, I cannot find it again. So I don't know if anybody's used that comb. Please pop up on our Facebook group.
Yeah, if you got a link to that sort of spatula comb, let's share it because I want to see it and I want to use
Yeah,
it.
it looked really cool, and I just I should have saved it. I do save all kinds of posts. I don't know what I was thinking. Actually, I do. I have a leaky faucet, and I was all wrapped up in that when it popped up, and then I moved on, and I thought, oh, I should have saved that. Darn it. All right. Well, is there anything else about combs that we should know? Oh, here's something. When we talk about slicker brushes and we take our phones out, we take a picture and zoom in really close, we should do that with our combs too, shouldn't we?
Yes, especially if they're if they're old or if they're coated, because the color coated combs, that coloring layer tends to chip and wear, and that creates a roughness along the teeth of the comb that can cause coat damage.
Yeah, I found.
So you want to check it, and basically my motto is get rid of that stuff. Put it for a free box in your, let somebody take it home, you know, or just toss it because we have these grooming tools that we get attached to no matter what. God, especially brushes.
Oh yeah, I have.
Brushes where the tines are going every which way. Oh, that defeats the purpose of a slicker.
Lean forward. We're missing all that.
What?
I missed all that because it's cut in and out. So yeah, especially for the slickers. Yeah, when the teeth are going every direction. Yeah,
On the slickers and on the pin brushes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like counterproductive because those tools are intended to align the fur, and if you got a whole bunch of them going in different directions, it's misaligning the fur.
I pull those out with my needle nose pliers, but it makes me laugh now because I think I have a slicker brush that has like 15 pins left in it. I still occasionally use it at the house. I should throw that thing away.
I lost pins on the Chris Christensen wooden brushes, which I really like because they're so hair and skin friendly. But they don't hold up. The wooden pins just don't hold up as well as the steel
It's
pins.
true, as sad as that is.
Yeah.
So I have some favorite rakes also. I don't use a lot of rakes, but I do a lot of D-sheds and golden retrievers, Australian shepherds, those kind of things. There's the regular kind of rake, which looks like a rake, and it just has one row of teeth. I don't use that one so much, but what I have is a smaller one that has two rows of teeth. That was probably like a safari rake or something, some pet store brand rake. It has really nice rounded pins. They're big pins. And I use that a lot to search for tangles, to brush a dog while I'm drying. Do you use rakes at all anymore? Well, do you use anything anymore?
I don't use rakes too often. I guess I've just drifted away because, I use that wide tooth poodle comb with a wooden handle a lot, and that gets a lot of undergrowth out. I've just drifted away from rakes, and there's some rakes that are just horrible, especially those with the sawtooth kind of blades on it. Oh, that's brutal, brutal on the hair.
And if you're using it because you're trying to save hair and you're going in there with that saw blade.
And the other thing is that I like to do the pat and pull kind of work in the coat where, you're not just like pulling the comb and what you do with rakes is mostly pull. You don't pat and lift. It doesn't produce that well. You rake it through. And I don't really like to rake because I think it's a little bit harsh on the dogs and it's just it's not my style, man.
I have a favorite little cat rake that I use to get out mats. When you've got a mat in a cat coat, it is a V double road small headed rake. It's plastic.
Oh, I've seen those, and that's meant to pat.
It's fantastic at getting tangles out of cats.
Yeah, I think that's a Sam Cole DeMatty
Yeah.
rake.
It works great.
Yeah, they're
I
good.
use it a
It
lot.
does work great.
Those are the two rakes I use the most is that double road fat pin white and with blue pinstriping.
That little V-shaped comb is also good when you've got messed up whiskers, just to work around the face. It's good for that.
And its little pins have held up really well. I looked at them under my phone and they look great. This is kind of a different area, but the Coat Kings and the Andis rake and maybe even Jody Murphy's new coat tender rake, which we haven't really gotten a good look at yet because she sold out in 4 hours. I think she said 4 hours sold out of her little coat tenders. It looks like a classic stripping knife with a better handle.
Yeah,
So it's not really a rake, so maybe we won't talk about it.
it's really a carding comb. That looks interesting. I would take one of those because I tend to use my stripping knives for that.
Me too.
And this gives you this different kind of handle that I think is a little bit easier on your hand.
Yeah, definitely. The Coat Kings and the Andis rake are very similar. And I don't really use them because they kind of seem like they're cutting a lot of coat. Is there something I'm doing wrong with them, or is that just the tool?
I think it's very easy to cut coat with those tools. And the coat kings you really have to be careful of it. First of all, I like them when they're older and they're kind of like worn. And then they don't cut. They just pull out and they do a good job of that. But you need to really be always in line with the growth pattern. So you don't want to go sideways over vertically over a horizontal part line of the dog or vice versa, go vertically over a horizontal because then that's going to make marks and stuff. You have to be very mindful in using that.
I was hesitant to include them as rakes, but I mean, Andis even calls it a rake. So it is kind of a rake. It does rake through the coat. How do you clean your combs?
I clean them in the bathing beauty. I rinse them out every now and then if I see them starting to pick up any oils. But that's the benefit of stainless steel combs. They don't accumulate biomaterial on there too much, unless you're using a fine comb on boogies or something like that. Then it's important. If you have like a flea comb or a face comb that you're using to comb out eye boogies, be sure to clean it out immediately after you finish using it because that will cause it to rust.
I use alcohol wipes.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I like to use alcohol on stainless steel tools.
Okay, good. I'm doing it right then. Yeah.
I used to make a spray. I would add a few drops of lemon essential oil and a couple of drops of melaleuca. That fragrance was nice and it just kind of added the sense of sanitation to it, but I dipped it away a little bit from using my essential oil, so I don't do that. But working in a spray bottle is easy too for your combs and brushes.
Yeah, cool. All right. Let's take a break and then we're going to come back with a really interesting discussion that came to us from Facebook.
Well, I think there's one thing
Oh.
thing we didn't cover.
Okay.
Care of your combs and brushes. Please don't just pile these things in dirty in a drawer. You really do need to wipe down your tools often. Maybe I don't do after every use like Mary Aquendo taught me, but it's important, and it's important not with your brushes. It's especially important how you lay them in a drawer, that you don't lay them together and let those. That's the most reason that the pins go wonky on you, is your storage method.
Yes, I have figured out less is more. I have 3 combs and my cordless clipper in one spot. And then I have my 2 slickers and my Pinello comb in another spot. And no other brushes or combs or anything around them.
Yeah, we didn't cover the Pinello comb,
Oh, right. The Pinello comb is kind of a comb and it's kind of a brush. So we kind of talked with it last time.
the brush comb.
Yes.
It works like both of them.
Yeah, that Pinello comb is one of my most essential. That's such a good point. How did I space that off?
Yeah, I did too.
It comes in all kinds of neat colors so you can find it, which is important, I think. Because if everything is either black or white or some muted color, it can disappear under the hair in the salon. Not in my salon because I use a clipper back, but in other people's salons. And you can't see it in the drawer as easily. So get one that's in a pretty color. And I use it for combing. I use it for undercoat. I use it when I'm drying. I use it for ears. I use it for muzzles. It's just an extremely useful tool. Okay, everybody, we're going to take a quick break. Then we will be back with the curator of ingredients who is going to teach us about brushing and clipping before the bath. Is it a bad thing or not?
Show Season has a great enzymatic cleaner called Kennel Fresh. And you dilute it with warm water and it smells good, and then it evaporates to be a deodorant. As the Kennel Fresh dries, it's enzymatic, it eats the bacteria and the odor source. So it's really good stuff. You can use it indoors or out.
Find it at your local distributors or showseasongrooming.com.
We want to welcome Randy and Cheryl Lowe from Precision Sharp and invite you to check out their website where you can see their newest precise cut shear called Lynx. It's a patented design featuring a thumb ring that slides the length of the handle for perfect ergonomic placement of your thumb. Slide it and lock it into position to get your best groom on. Check it out at precisionsharp.com.
A good groomer buddy of mine, somebody who I highly respect, wrote me a private message and said, I have a quick question. I have always done pre-bath clipping and I rarely ever do a pre-bath brush up, except in the case when it's a dog who needs carding. Is there science that goes against my techniques? And if so, could you point me towards the best educational resources or educator?
Well, you're my educator.
I could have gotten huffy about that, but I didn't, because I thought, you know what? This is a perfect example of how it's confrontational, but it's polite and it's professional and it's not unfriendly.
Not at all.
And she did it privately, not just as a part of that ranty thread that was going on. So I really want to emphasize that as a quote expert, you need to be ready to back up what you say. And so I had to rethink it. Why would I say that? Because there is no hard science in terms of scientific studies or clinical trials to support the assertion that after the bath, clipping and brushing is a better choice than before the bath, right?
I've never seen a study.
My process has been getting kind of little bits of this and little bits of that. My logic and deduction led me to accept the preference for after the bath protocol. So I'll just enumerate a few things. One, pre-bath clipping can slightly rough up the surface of the skin, making it more susceptible to detergent irritation, shampoo irritation. And I have to admit that the source of that information evades me. I learned that reading something scientific online many years ago when I started, kind of probably in 2010 or something. Two. So I'm just confessing because I don't have a scientific backup for this, that clipping can slightly rough up the surface of the skin, but it makes sense to me given other things that I know. Even rough brushing can roughen up the surface of the skin, lead to abrasion,
And if the blade is hot,
more things that can happen. So pre-bath clipping is harder on your blades and can also be a means of transmitting unwanted germs between animals.
oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Think about it. How often do we really clean our blades in between dogs? Be real.
More like the end of the day for me, unless there's a skin problem that I see.
Yeah, if you're good,
Yeah,
if you're good at it, or once a week, like about what I would do, but I wasn't
right.
doing very many dogs. So post-bath clipping is more sanitary and less likely to dull your blades. So that's kind of a two-pronged deduction.
Yes.
Three, pre-bath brushing on unclean dry hair is likely to cause more coat damage than working on clean conditioned coat. That's established. Brushing unclean hair is like using sandpaper on the hair cuticle, and I got that from human hair science.
We have those magical electron microscopes that get so close up to the hair that we can see that kind of proof.
You can actually see that. So bathing and conditioning the coat not only removes dirt and debris, it neutralizes static cling in the coat and leaves a protective shield. So it guards against the damage that can become the inevitable small damage that can occur just from brushing out a coat. It also smooths the surface of the hair and the skin. So the hair and skin is more protected after the bath than it is before. Way more.
And that's fact.
That, and I would say that that's a fact, but I don't have a reference that I can give you. I don't have a reference for any of these things that I've just said, but to me, in my deduction and my logic, it makes sense. And I do consider myself to be a major educator in this kind of an area.
Oh, yes.
I point to myself, girlfriend. Can you point me towards the best educational resources of education? I hope I'm not being big-headed,
No, you've done the work.
but I just think that I've done so much reading. I hair science, skin science every week. I'm just in there reading a lot. I get distracted and go deep into stuff. This is what I've come up with that I think is a reality, that it's just safer to do these things afterwards. But that doesn't mean never. I don't believe in always or never. There's always an exception to our protocols. There's always an exception. I mean, I'm not going to take a terribly matted dog and bathe it first. I saw somebody the other day grooming two Shih Tzus that looked like they were 2 years of growth in dreadlocks. I'm not going to bathe that first. Of course, I would want to get rid of all of that mass of nasty hair before I gave the dog a bath. It's all give and take. It's all engineering. There's a downside and an upside to everything. But I think that the upside favors after the bath work.
I would just rather work on a clean dog than a dirty dog.
Well, yeah, and I didn't even say it's better for the groomer. Pre-bath work also gets stuff into the air that you then breathe. The exception being perhaps using a clipper vac.
Yes.
Yeah, so using the clipper vac reduces that. And truthfully, when I'm going to do a dog that's in bad shape and I'm going to clip it first, I use a clipper bag.
Yay!
I just don't use a clipper bag for every groom like you do, and that's fine. You have a good thing going, and I believe a clipper bag is worth having.
Okay, I have no style. This is how I escape from not being a sculptor or having an artistic eye or any of that stuff. My artistic proclivity is apparently in talking. I'm a good talker.
You talk a great groom, Susie
I do.
Scott.
But I cannot sculpt. I am not a sculptor. I'm not an artist of that caliber. I am an artist in dog handling, which makes me a proficient groomer and unique in that respect.
And it makes you highly valuable.
I have my area.
Everybody's going by seat of their pants and how they handle their family dog. There's certain principles that are established. There was a magazine at the CVS pharmacy the other day, and I got stuck waiting for them to solve a problem for me that I won't go into. And I read this magazine, and it was all about the human-dog relationship, and what the dog wants out of the relationship, what dogs like and they don't like, and how to be a pal and a mentor to your dog. It was really right on. It was spot on. But that whole magazine, and I think it would be like $3.95 to buy it, there wasn't a single message of working on your dog for grooming.
Yeah, that's an area that doesn't get covered. Pet owners do not recognize that. Well, Chrissy Newmeyer Smith has a new For Pet Owners podcast. Maybe they'll talk about that there. But yeah, it's lacking.
I know they just dump their animals off and expect us to be the trainer while we do the job. And they've allowed the dog to like bite at them when they brush. They haven't got the right brush. It hurts. The dog nips and growls. It pulls away. And then they dump them with us and we're supposed to brush it out.
You just made me realize that I have a Westie client who just got a Karen puppy. And she's looking for someone to strip the dog. And if she can't find someone she's comfortable with stripping the dog, because I can't do it, I can't with my hand, she's going to do it herself.
Yeah, well, good luck. Don't spend a lot of money on tools because they're going to end up in your garage.
I'm going to end up grooming that dog, and it's going to be after she's done it for a year and a half. I just know it.
I agree. It's not, hair stripping is not easy. It is not intuitive.
Yeah, and it's not something I can do for them. It's a cute puppy. I told them next time I'd give it a bath.
But the reason that I went to Costco was to sign up so I could get the hearing aids.
Yeah, good. That's exciting. I can't wait for that.
Are we done yet?
I'm trying to sign out, but the bird is screaming, so it's going to be picked up on my microphone, even though you can't hear it. Well, folks, thanks for being here this week on the GroomPod. Thank you for supporting our sponsors. Thank you for not killing my bird. There's a lot to say. Barbara, sign us out.
That's all for today, folks. Take care of yourselves and remember that we love you.
Happy grooming. Bye.